What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the all-new 2025 Toyota Camry alongside the new Hyundai Sonata. Both of these cars are hybrids coming in around $38,000, and both of them get pretty good efficiency. So we're going to see how these two midsize sedans stack up option for option at this price point and see which one is your better commuter car. Starting with the Hyundai Sonata, so this is going to feature a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder hybrid engine. It pumps out 192 net horsepower with 136 net torque. It also has a 6-speed automatic transmission, a front-wheel drive, and can achieve 44 miles per gallon in the city with 51 out on the highway on a 13.2 gallon fuel tank. Now underneath the hood of the Toyota Camry, this has a 2.5-liter inline 4-cylinder hybrid engine with net horsepower at 225, and it has 163 pound-feet of torque. Now this is paired to a CVT transmission, 13-gallon fuel tank, but you're looking at 48 miles per gallon in the city with 47 out on the highway. So moving on to the interior, with this XSE Camry, you are going to see genuine leather on the seats. You have a nice leather wrapped steering wheel, shift knob, and there's even leather on the door panels and some good padding. It's definitely a more simple interior. It's not anything crazy fancy. However, it looks nice in here. We have the massive screen integrated really well to the trim. This is basically what you would see on every Toyota, as every car company basically does. So it's on the simple side with all sorts of different information throughout it. Settings, of course. For the backup camera, when you put it in reverse, you have basically just a standard backup camera with a wide angle view. There are physical climate controls down below that, which does make it very simple. Wireless charging, nice storage. And then the gauge cluster has a pretty cool look, all digital, and you can scroll through left and right and see lots of vitals within the car, the trip information, cruise control, things like that. So it's a nice interior. It feels good in here at 5'11". I mean, I'm sitting really comfortable in the seats. Good armrests, pretty good use of storage. Nothing is really gonna shout at you in a Toyota Camry as bold. It's just a nice place overall. Full panoramic sunroof as well, garage door buttons. You're gonna see heated seats in here as well. So pretty nicely equipped and really comfortable and roomy. Moving on to the Hyundai Sonata. So once again, like the Camry XSE, the Limited Sonata is going to have real leather on the seats and a few other surfaces. So it's a pretty nice interior. You do get this plastic wood trim as well. Of course, a very different interior. You have a massive single screen basically for the gauge cluster as well as the multimedia. And like any Hyundai, of course, everything that you're going to see on the screen is about what you would expect across the board. Now the Hyundai does have the front camera, the 360 camera view as well, so much nicer camera system. There's also cameras for the turn signals. When you do them, you're gonna see that pop up on the dashboard. Center screen itself is kind of gonna have similar information that the Camry had, just in addition to those cool cameras. For this car, there is also comfort access. When you open the door and close it, the seat will move. There's also memory seating in this car, and you're gonna see ventilated seating. Still have the same panoramic roof, all of your basic controls as well. So there are a few more extra goodies you're gonna notice in the Hyundai for similar money and sometimes less money. We have a heads-up display as well, and this nice leather material across the dashboard. So I can see that Hyundai is packing you with a little bit more features for the same price point, which is worth a lot to some buyers. Just like the Camry though, it is still comfortable in here, good use of storage, armrests are in a great place. So they're very similar interiors overall. I would just say the Hyundai seems to have a few extra options. Now onto the back seat of the 2025 Toyota Camry. So you're gonna have the same seating surfaces as you saw up front. The seats are, I'd say, a little on the stiff side right now. You do have air vents, 2 USB plugs, storage behind both of these seats, good padded armrest, and then in the center we can pull this down and you do have an armrest with cup holders. Now it doesn't really stop in a specific spot, it just kind of goes to the ground. There is good headroom, dome lights, the sunroof comes all the way back here. I wouldn't mind a little bit more support under my lower back. The recline does seem pretty good. Again, I have plenty of room in here. I would just say I wouldn't mind a little bit better back support. Other than that though, it's a pretty comfortable back seat. Hyundai Sonata time sitting back here, the seat cushions do feel a little bit more padded. Just like in the Camry, I have plenty of leg room. There's no storage behind the driver's seat. However, we still have 2 USBs, climate air vents right here, and the passenger seat has a little bit of storage. You do have sunshades back here, which is a great touch. Sunroof also comes back very far. And then in the center, we can pull this down. It does stop at a pre-designated spot with a good armrest and your cup holders. Lumbar support feels a little bit better in the back. I feel like this is a little bit more reclined. So honestly, I think the Hyundai is a little bit better back seat, especially given a little bit better back comfort and the addition to the sunshades. Onto the trunk space, the Hyundai offers a power operation, so you just tap the button, it's gonna automatically go all the way up. You have a ton of storage space in here, as you can tell, nice and squared off, and then you can pull those and manually fold down the seats. Underneath the floor, you're gonna see just a little bit of extra storage, and then we can just press the button and automatically close. Moving on to the Camry, it does not have a power trunk. So you just press the button, kind of spring assisted, it will pop open. In here underneath the floor, you are gonna see a full spare with all the equipment and a very similar size overall with the same manual pull tabs. And then manually, we can close it. And then lastly, moving on to exterior styling, purely subjective, the new Hyundai Sonata looks like this. It definitely has kind of a quirky design to it overall. A little bit more plain, I would say. I think the Camry looks a bit more sporty. Got the cool body color grille. Again, purely subjective depending on which car you like better. Side profiles are gonna be very similar to previous generations. And then we have the two-tone paint. This one is the ocean blue on the Camry. Then we have the carbon blue on the Sonata. So again, both with the rear ends, a little bit more quirky, futuristic on the Hyundai, a little bit more conservative over on the Toyota, but both nonetheless look like pretty nice mid-size cars. All right, so in the Toyota Camry, let's set off and get our bearings with this car. So being a hybrid, that is all that Toyota offers. There is an EV mode for this car. There's no specific range. This is not a plug-in hybrid or an electric car. The hybrid system in this basically increases efficiency. You can go into the EV mode basically for parking lot speed. When you're coasting, the engine will shut off and we're in EV. So right now we are just cruising slowly and it's just electronics. When you give it a little bit more throttle or go up to like 15, 20 miles an hour or so, that's when the engine will kick in. So this isn't that type of electric hybrid car. Getting my bearings with it, it's a comfortable car. These seats definitely are on the stiffer side. I can definitely tell that, at least just sitting in them back to back. So far getting out of the parking lot, it's pretty comfortable and just easy, normal to drive. Now, given this has more power, when you give it some throttle, engine kicking in, I mean, you get up to speed very well. It's no sports car, but it's no slouch either. So I like to see that this does have a bigger engine to where it's heavy. You can get up on the highway, no issues. With the front wheel drive, if you're in sport mode, you can squeal the tires just a little bit, given it has a little bit more power and that instant torque down low. When we are going faster speeds, it's still comfortable and really quiet. You don't really hear any wind noise or road noise or anything like that. So it's a nice car overall. You can tell the build quality is there. It feels pretty solidly put together. There's no loose ends, there's no rattles or anything weird like that. It feels like a stable car. It has a sport tuned suspension, at least for this trim level, and it feels like that. You can feel the bumps, but it's solid over the bumps. So I don't mind it if you're used to maybe more sports cars, honestly, and you're looking for a daily. This is probably a good way to go if you have more of that enthusiast desires to you. But getting my bearings going quicker now, visibility is pretty good. Only drawback with visibility is those rear headrests. They don't really fold down, kind of in the way when you look over it, so it does make that glass a little small over your shoulders. In the mirror, you can still see everything fine, but I wouldn't mind those being a little bit out of the way. But yeah, not really anything to complain about. Yeah, you feel the bumps a little bit, but it's comfortable enough, nice enough. Just a good solid base to where it's easy to use, easy to drive, and it's gonna give you kind of the refinements, the comfort levels that you would expect from a Toyota. It's not super refined like a high-end luxury car, but I mean, it feels nice to drive for sure. All right, so now into the Hyundai Sonata. Let's get our bearings with this after the Camry. So leaving the parking lot, once again, the hybrid system is gonna do the same thing. It'll basically go back and forth between the battery and motors versus the engine. So it's a cool way that they've done these normal kind of hybrids. I think it's kind of that sweet spot. You never have to charge either car. You just get good efficiency and decent power overall. So sitting in here, this seat is a little bit more padded, a little bit more plush. So I think Hyundai does give you just a little bit more luxury touch to this car at the same price point. Less sporty feeling though. So getting up to speed, we do have a little bit less power. We do have a real transmission, 6-speed versus the eCVT. So it is kind of nice to see that. We'll go into sport mode, give it some gas, and see what this car is like. Not quite squealing the tires. Definitely slower for sure. Still getting up to speed. I mean, that's 50 without really thinking. But you can definitely tell the Camry has just that little extra fun factor with the extra power. Another thing I noticed, you're gonna feel more drivetrain in this car through the steering. When I was just slowing down, turning, and then turning sharp and slowly giving it some throttle, you can feel the steering get light and then heavy. So that is one drawback I would say with the Hyundai, just the drivetrain aspects not quite as quick, and you're gonna feel some more drivetrain in the steering wheel like that. You do get a little bit of torque steer and I guess more squealing the tires in the Camry, but this one, the steering weight changes, which is a little odd. But getting back up to speed now, suspension in this car, it's not gonna be sport tuned. It does ride a little bit more plush. Just like I found with the seats, the ride quality feels a little bit more on the luxury side. When you hit big bumps in the road, this feels more like a Mercedes kind of cruising. So while the Camry does feel refined and nice, this does take it up a little bit to where the suspension is a little bit more soft, a little bit more forgiving, and it gives you a more luxury ride quality. Interior, when you're kind of using it, driving it, just as comfortable. You know, the backrests are a little bit more comfortable in these seats like I found already. And then of course the technology in this car is pretty nice to see, especially with the extra cameras. The ventilated seats are a big plus. So there are a few more nicer goodies in this car. But I think the biggest thing I'm noticing when driving is the Camry's a little bit more sporty, a little more quick. This one is a little bit slower and then a little more softer and has that more plush ride. Getting back up to speed now. Wind noise, road noise, things like that. I feel like you feel and hear less of the engine turning on and off in the Hyundai. I think their integration with the hybrid is a little bit smoother. You don't really ever notice it until you're flooring at higher RPMs here in the engine. So this is a little bit smoother with the EV to engine feeling, I would say. And then the road noise, things like that. I think there is just a tad more wind noise in this car. No road noise, honestly, in either car, but I feel like you're gonna feel sometimes the wind noise in this car. And I guess on a bumpy road, I do hear a little bit more of the tires. So it's definitely a toss-up. Each car has some strengths, has some weaknesses. If you want a little bit softer ride, go for the Hyundai. If you want a little bit more sporty ride with a little bit more power, go for the Camry. So more features in here, a little bit less features for the same money in the Camry. So toss-up for sure. I think they both definitely offer quite a lot of strengths and only have a few little weaknesses here and there. So wrapping it up, after driving in the all-new 2025 Toyota Camry alongside the Hyundai Sonata Limited Hybrid, how do these stack up? I think at the end of the day, they are both really good options. I mean, to get nearly 50 miles per gallon in a sub $40,000 pretty loaded sedan is a pretty good value. I do think the Hyundai is a little bit better in the sense of giving you options. I mean, having the turn signal cameras, the rear sunshades, the memory seating, the ventilated seats, along with the comfort access, and the better camera system overall, it's a pretty good option for similar money. In this exact case, this Hyundai is actually about $1,000 less, but trim for trim, you can get these about the same price point. So I think the Hyundai is a little bit more feature packed, a little bit more plush to drive. The Camry has a little bit more power, which is nice. You know, I like the increase in engine size still without harming the efficiency. You're gonna get a little bit more sporty ride out of it, so it kind of does come down to taste. I think the biggest thing will come down to long-term dependability and resale. Is the Camry going to last longer? Is it gonna hit 300,000 miles without skipping a beat? Is the Hyundai gonna struggle after 100,000? We don't quite know. These are very new cars. Along with that, 5-year resale value. You know, is the Camry gonna hold better value in comparison to the Hyundai? We'll have to see. So I think value for value, dollar for dollar, brand new, the Hyundai does offer a little bit more. I still like the Camry. I think it's a great choice. Possibly is the safer choice due to future dependability and reliability, along with the pricing. But comment below, what do you guys think of these two? And if you are in the market for an affordable sedan with nice options and efficiency, both are definitely something to take a look at. So that's it for my thoughts on these two cars. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for plenty more. I'll see you all in the next video.